Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Chelsea, and we'll start off with Vinny from Sky.
Sean, can I just start with something a bit away from the football club at the moment? Dele Alli, what's going to happen with him? Obviously, he's not having the best of times over there. Have you spoken to him? What help can you give him in this situation?
No, I'll wait during the international innings. The news is sort of suggesting that he's not going to be involved there, so I'll wait and find out during the international window.
Fact is, he'll come back in the summer anyway. Could he still have a future at the football club? Is that something you've got to sit down?
Well, like I say, we'll have to wait and see, and sort of judge things probably in the summer now, when we all get back together. Because I'm pretty sure he's contracted till the end of the season there. So, like I say, we'll pick that up during the international break.
Slightly different situation. Connor Cody, obviously here on loan, not starting at the moment. Is that any indication as to what could happen as regards his future and a permanent deal?
No, not this time. He's been an immaculate professional, which everyone knows, or everyone in the game has always suggested he is. And now, having worked with him, I can see why, because he is. And the fine margins of football and who to play for what reasons. And I just made a call on it. That was all. But he's a high quality footballer, that's for sure. Fantastic attitude and a leader. Like I say, fine margins between who we're picking at the moment, because there's a number of players who could argue the case of getting in. Obviously, it enhances things more if the team are winning. Enhances it less for your chances if the team are winning. Not always, but sometimes. But at the end of the day, the margins are fine. There's a lot of good players here that I'm trying to keep alive because things change quickly.
Again, his future and a permanent deal, one for the summer.
Yeah, I mean, look, I try and stay open with the players. I'm still pretty new here, really. You know what I mean? It's, so there's a lot of relationships to continue building. But I think they're well aware of the situation themselves. So, yeah, over due course, then we'll be hopefully keeping these lines of communication open with all parties.
Michael Keane obviously keeping him out of the side at the minute. What level are you seeing from him since his return to the starting lineup?
Well, I think he's been decent. I mean, everyone had a tough night at Arsenal. That can happen. But I thought his performances have been good. I think, not just his, the team. To be honest, I thought we were a strong outfit against Nottingham Forest. Should have arguably seen the game through, and a strong performance against a strong side in Brentford. So, and he's played his part in that.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, though, not training when we were out there today. What can you tell us about that? Should we be concerned?
We're still monitoring the situation, being careful. He's being careful with his body, trying to give him every opportunity. It wasn't overly in my thinking for the Chelsea game, regardless of anything else, because obviously the window comes and you can hopefully use that even more wisely. So, the international window, the international break, use that even more wisely. So, we're just monitoring his body and he's monitoring it too.
So it's not the case of having a setback?
No, he's just felt something that we've had to be careful with. That's all, and he's had to be careful with because, like I said, we're trying to get him sort of as strong as he was 2 years ago and get him back to that statistical level as well as what we see and how he feels.
You think in the 2-week break or so with the international break, it could mean he'd be available?
We'll see. There's nothing other than me. Just want to get him out there training every day and feeling good about that. That's the best start point, and we'll take it from there.
We're looking at this relegation battle and seeing 9 teams possibly in it. When there's more teams involved like that, does it make it more or less difficult to get clear?
I'm not really worried what it makes it. I only concentrate on us. I'm well aware of what others are doing, quite obviously. I'm aware of the table. But it's about continuing to build on what we're doing. And I think we've shown strong signs of improvement in the areas we thought it needed it. The shape's been good, the energy's been good, the commitment to play and to what we want to do has been good. We can still find better pockets of football at times, but that comes with belief and confidence, etc., etc. And, the reality is that you're playing some good sides as well. Brentford got a stronger hold on the game second half, but they're a good outfit, and we saw it through in a different way. And that's pleasing for me, finding different ways to see wins, to get wins, different ways to get points. These are all part of a season's work in the Premier League. That I do know. And when you are playing well and things are looking after themselves, weirdly they do kind of look after themselves. Teams are in really good form and they get that little roll kind of mentality, but it has to start somewhere. And I think we're putting the building blocks in to start that kind of feeling when you can put wins together and back-to-back results. And I think we're showing signs of that.
You came into the role with that belief as well that you could get clear of trouble. How has that belief been enhanced, reinforced since you've been here?
Well, I think mainly by the players. You know, their training performances, the energy and the way they're going about their training is important to me. The acceptance of a new regime. You know, it's not always easy, but they've been open-minded to that. But you've got to take it out on the pitch. You know, the whistle blows. You've got to do it when the real action starts. And I think we've mostly done that, or certainly attempted to do that. There's been no lack of effort or desire to do the right things, because there has been a clear desire. Sometimes we've got it wrong, but there's often good signs of us getting it right.
Got a real sense of that mucking in at Goodison last week against Brentford. Not just the players, the fans as well at Goodison.
Yeah, absolutely. The fans have been terrific. I mean, look, it's, you know, there's a lot of noise around the club when I got here, but they've parked that aside or pushed it aside and concentrated on the team, and I can only thank them for that. And I think the players would as well. You know, they've home and away, they've been terrific. We will need that continuing, that vocal support and the belief in the players, and I think they're showing their part of it, and we've got to keep paying that back with performances.
A month ago, Chelsea lost at home to Southampton. Since then, 1 defeat to Spurs and 3 straight wins. What difference have you noticed in them, if any, in recent times?
I think, look, I know Graham a little bit from my time, you know, when we played him and stuff, and he's got into a new situation. They've signed, I know they've spent fortunes, but you're still got to mould them into a team, and that can take time sometimes. Sometimes it's hand in glove and it works straight away, and sometimes it takes time. And, you know, I think whatever everyone was looking at or thinking, and still maybe, because there's still a few ups and downs of what's going on, it's, you know, suggested. But at the end of the day, they've got some very, very good players and very strong players. So, yeah, again, it's another tough away game. They all are in the Premier League. All games are, home and away. But we've got to be ready for that. And I think we're showing a mentality we can be ready for that. Whistle blows, we've got to deliver. You know, that's the key focus for me. I say it all the time, is all the noise has to go away. You know, and I speak to the team about it. It's about what we do. It's about taking on the what's right in front of you, and taking that mentality home and away everywhere you go. And, you know, I think over a season's work, it pays you back when you get that mentality home and away.
Just final check on team news as well. Nathan Patterson ready. James Garner, we know, has been on the bench, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, in and around it, you know, and there's, you know, we're getting that competitive group back together again.
Cool. All the best.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Fraser.
Just moving on from that point about playing away from home, I mean, you could see improvements, especially in the game against Forest, and like you say, you hope you should have closed that out a little bit. What is it you've been working on specifically? What's different about the mentality of being at home as opposed to being away, would you say?
No, it's not really about something different. It's more the consistency of the mentality. You know, on the training pitch, home games going into away games. You know, we've got to have a really high level of consistent sort of a base to work from, but also the mentality. You know, going away from home and saying, look, we're taking it on. You know, there's certain tactical things we might change for any given game, but generally speaking, the mentality is a massive thing to take on an away performance with that kind of body language, that intent, that desire to go and perform and win a game. And I think we've been speaking to the players a lot about that. And like I say, there are some tactical tweaks sometimes. Another, you know, certain grounds you might not have the ball as much and stuff like that. But you've got to find ways of winning, and I think we're trying to build a mentality where we can win games under different circumstances. And like I said, I agree. I thought the Forest game was as near as a very good away performance as you can get in the Premier League when you know in the situation we are. I think that's a thoroughly good performance. Details, you know, we didn't make the same mistakes against Brentford. We win, and a couple of mistakes, and you know it hurts against Forest. But at the end of the day, there's a I think. And I believe there's a marked improvement in that kind of mentality going away from home. But now we've got to continue it. And of course, not easy going to these places, but that's the mentality to have, to go there and put on a performance that can win a game.
Because if you look at your running, you've got 6 games that are going to be away from home. You'll be facing 7 sides who are in the top half. Do you feel as if you've got maybe a tougher job trying to get out of the relegation fight?
Well, they have or you haven't. They're right in front of you. They're not going to change. You know, so the acceptance of what the league programme tells you. You know, I've always believed in that. You've got to play them all, but we've got to continue to build that mentality I spoke about, that consistent mentality to take whoever we're playing on. You know, and be clear-minded and bloody-minded about it as well. You know, take it on. This is right in front of us. This is what we've got to do. This is the challenge. It's not going to go away. The acceptance of what it is and the reality of it, and then have the freedom to go and challenge ourselves to win games. Thank you.
Thanks, Fraser. We'll go to James at Radio Merseyside.
Sure. Just a few personnel questions, if I may. Firstly, Dwight McNeil, how pleased have you been with him in terms of how he's evolved since you've been here?
I don't think he's evolved. I think he's just finding his feet again. You know, it's a big thing for a player who come into, you know, a smaller concern. In reality, like Burnley, it's sometimes an easier place to go into early when you're young. Built a very good reputation, gets a move here, and it becomes a different concern again, a bigger concern, a bigger feel, if you like. And I think he's just sort of got his shoulders back, and we've reminded him of when he relaxes and works hard, he's a good player. So the information given to him has been very, very simple. Nothing too in depth. I know he knows the role, and I think he's a player who's ready to improve, and he is improving. But yeah, I think it's just sometimes the simplicity of the message rather than over-egging it.
Ben Godfrey got to go at left back. How do you feel like he did?
Yeah, well, I think chances come in game in teams, for different reasons. Miko's done well, I believe, and he was unfortunately ill. Ben stood in, and even the second game, it was a close one because the knock-on effect of illness, as you know, it can affect you for 5 or 6 days afterwards. So it was another tight decision, but Ben's done well. So, that's what we want from the squad. The way they've been working, the players who are not in the squad, is fantastic. And I always speak to them about when your chance comes, be ready. So when we offer you the workload, please do it, with every inch of what you can, because then when you get your chance, you can perform. And when you perform, often you stay in the team. And I think Ben's been a good sign of that currently.
And I suppose related to that, when Tom Davis came on, he only had 10 minutes, or it came on 80 minutes, but he really seemed to revel in that role that you asked him to do, and I guess it emphasises the importance of the squad.
I've already spoken about the squad mentality. I've spoken to the team about the squad mentality, because I think that's invaluable. If you're not in the side, but you can keep your professional standards and push yourself and others around you, that's an incredibly powerful thing for me. So I have massive respect for the people who are not in the side. In the side, in theory, when I was a player, you should be motivated and stimulated from that fact. If you're not in the side, that can be more tricky. So I have a huge respect for the people who are not in the side, not just the players who are playing. And they've been excellent here so far.
Thanks, James. We'll go to Will.
Hi, Sean. I'm just wondering what the plans are for the international break. Obviously, you've used 13, 14 players quite a lot. We give them a little bit of time off, or do you want to get...
Yeah, usually the players who are not away, they get a little bit of time off, yeah, but that's sort of standard.
What do you think you can work on during that break? Because,
I think we're going to have a lot away, so you can't work on that much, because obviously a lot of players will be away. But it's mainly keeping them fit and topped up with fitness, and finding that sort of reward for the break is to do enough work to keep them fit and sharp, but equally give them a break, because it's a long period to have off, to have away from playing, and it's unfortunate for some of the players that go away, but equally with them, we do try and give them a day off, an extra day off when we can, to make sure they at least get a couple of days, because they've been working, of course, and playing.
You've been quite relaxed since you got here, even though you arrived in somewhat of a predicament. Would it be fair to say, no disrespect to the teams that you worked with before, but this group of players is on paper more talented than maybe what you've worked with in the past, and that's why you are quite...
Well, starting point is, I wouldn't say it's relaxed, but I just work on realities. There's a reality to what the challenge was here when I got in, still is. So I don't really... I don't think I'm relaxed about it. I think I just look at realities and go, right, I'm more interested in the strategy then to go, right, okay, this is the reality, what are we going to do about it? So it's not about being relaxed, I can assure you. I'm on it, and I'm on the detail, and I'm on the things that I think are important. But to bring clarity to that, then I think it's better if you're in a calmer state than if you're all over the place, let's suggest. So that's that one. With the players, look, players have different value and different capabilities and different skill sets in every different way. All the players I've worked with, there'd always be something in their armour, if you like, that makes them what they are, and a good player. So I'm not really judging different groups. I just think this is a talented group, and I said that when I got here. Now maximising that talent has been the challenge, and that's sort of mine and the staff's job, is to give them a platform to work from, maximise their individual talent, and bring that together as a team. And if you do that and all noses are pointing in the right direction, then the talent comes true. The talent shows itself, and I think that's what we're looking to do.
Could we just ask you on Amadou Onana as well? Is he playing with a slight knee nickel, or is he over that now?
I don't think so. It's news to me.
No, just making sure, that's all. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thanks, Will. Any further questions, Eleanor?
Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
Just on Dwight McNeil, especially maybe with Dominic still being out, how important is Dwight potentially as a goal scorer as well as somebody who can create?
I think I've spoken recently about the whole team being goal scorers, the mentality to score goals, and I think that has definitely improved the amount of bodies getting in the box, but the intent, the body language of the players going into the box, and I've shown them clips. It started with the set pieces. We looked a handful at set pieces, and we looked like we could affect games at set pieces. Then you build that mentality into playing, then you build that freedom to say, drive in the box. I call it the the sort of the bliss to miss, if you like. Just don't be afraid of it. You miss a chance. That's the way it goes. But be in there to score, and I think that's growing. The mentality to be in there to score and the desire to score is growing amongst the group. And if Dwight can chip in, that's great. But I'm not just going to single out one player. It's about all the players. And I said recently, just on a common sense level, if you ask them to all defend, then you can ask them to all score. And I think that's the mentality that I've always shared.
Yeah, and you mentioned Graham Potter earlier. Do you feel like there is a particular scrutiny on British or English managers who get high-profile jobs, maybe especially ones who haven't had a particularly high-profile playing career?
Well, there is or there isn't. It's been there for a long time, that kind of feeling. Managers now, it's come from all over the world. I don't think it's relevant to English and British against foreign managers. I think if you're good, you're good. If you can do the job, you can do the job. I think the breakthrough would be an English manager winning the league or something like that. Of course, winning the title. But there's been lots of good signs, I think, from English and British managers, and I respect Graham. I think he's a good guy as well as a good manager.